Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Today is a big day for me, and it's because these are launching today. My two new fragrances that have been in the works for pretty much about a year now. I'm not working on anything new yet, but maybe I will be soon. And if I do get started on it pretty soon, yeah, it'll still take like a year. But these ones are ready to go. They are ready. And because I know everything sucks right now, just as far as pricing, everything is like, to the moon, but in a bad way. It's gonna be a little bit cheaper this time than last time. So you'll be able to get these for under 100 bucks. Ah, look at them. Ooh. They're gonna get to hang out with their brothers over there. So yeah, these are my new fragrances done in collaboration with Michael Malone. So Michael Malone X Gents Scents, release number 4 and 5. And also, just to make things a little bit better for everybody, the fragrances that are already out in the line, you'll be able to get those for under 100 bucks as well. So where to start? I guess a quick recap of the existing ones, and then on to these guys. By the way, I will have these linked in the description below. The code that you will want to use is GENTSCENTS. It's GENTSCENTS. There is an S missing there. Yes, it's not GENTSCENTS. It was set up as GENTSCENTS a long time ago, just never got changed. So keep that in mind, it's GENTSCENTS. Again, linked in the description, and the code's down there as well in case you just want to copy paste, just want to be lazy about it. So what that code will do is get you 30% off the fragrances, the new ones and the older ones, and that brings the cost down from $140 to $98. All right, let's check these. Bow! So this one you will not see on the website. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. That one's gonna be relaunched. That's gonna be a fun video, boys. Stay tuned. But that's gonna be relaunched. Terra Nova, Jet Black Enigma. Those ones, they will be on there. You can scoop those if you like. Jet Black Enigma is the first one that I did in collaboration with Michael Malone. Perfumer of this one is Ilias Urmanitis, and this is a great fall and wintertime fragrance. It's got just the right amount of sweetness, a lot of spice in there, a nice dark woodiness, extremely wearable, sexy, the type of fragrance you could wear to a formal occasion if you wanted to, great casually as well. Nice evening scent. Really, really love that one. Well, of course, I'm biased. I mean, what am I gonna say? Ignore me when I say I love one of these. It's like, duh, idiot.
What?
But yeah, that's Jet Black Enigma. Terra Nova, this one is perfumed by Hamid Maradi Kashani, who's done a lot of fragrances for Parfums de Marly, especially. Leighton, probably be the biggest one that people are gonna recognize immediately from him. And this was actually up for Fragrance of the Year for the Fragrance Foundation Awards, which some people would consider like the Oscars for fragrances. I'm not gonna get like way into that or anything, but it was up for that. It made the finals and beat, I think, like 94 other fragrances to get to the finals, where it lost.
And the Oscar goes to?
Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre, which I love. That fragrance is awesome, so I don't feel bad about it. Was that deal? You know, it's like, I'm just happy to be here, guys. Yeah. Awesome citrus opening with this one. You know, a little bit green. It's another one that has a nice classiness to it. I think that you could wear this just about anywhere. It's that type of fragrance made to be sort of a signature scent, you know, like an all-season, daytime or evening fragrance. That's what that one is. There's gonna be a giveaway in today's video where I'm giving away both of these right here. Full bottle, full presentation, everything. So stay tuned later on and we'll go over the giveaway. So these two, you can scoop those up. But of course, it's all about these two right here, the new ones. So we have Edgewater and West Loop. Some of you are going to recognize those as locations in Chicago. And indeed, that is what they're named after. Bit of like an aside, and doesn't ultimately matter when it comes to the fragrances themselves, but growing up, I was a huge Chicago Cubs fan because I played baseball growing up, and where I live, basically you had two options, at least when it came to watching Major League Baseball. It was either the Atlanta Braves or the Chicago Cubs, also the Chicago White Sox, but yeah. And it was because WGN had baseball like everywhere in the US, and it was like TBS, TNT had the Braves. So a lot of people are not gonna know or care about that, especially if you live in a different country, but I grew up watching the Cubs like religiously.
Get him a uniform.
And so always had a thing for Chicago. I visited Chicago a number of times, always really enjoyed the city. And so Here we go. Now, these are both very different fragrances. They don't really have anything at all in common as far as how they smell. So I guess we'll check this one out first. Edgewater, you know, do this one and then that one. As you can tell by the packaging here, this is a green sort of fragrance. I'll read the note breakdown for you here really quickly. The note breakdown for Edgewater, much larger than the note breakdown for West Loop. I haven't gone to a 3-note breakdown yet. I don't think I ever will. Instead, I give you way too many. So this one was done by Richard Herban. He is a perfumer at Mon. It has a top of apple, bergamot, black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, grapefruit, and peppermint. A mid of figolide, lavender, sage, tamarind pepper, petitgrain, and saffron, and a base of tobacco, sandalwood, heliotrope, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, and tonka bean. Like I said, a lot of notes. One thing that has been upgraded, it's a minor thing, but it's still an upgrade, is the caps now click into place. Not magnetic yet. Maybe we'll get there, but the old ones did not. They just slid into place. So now, look at that. Design obviously stays the same between the old bottles, if you want to call them that, the old fragrances, and the new ones. So on the back, you'll find your note breakdown, all the information there on the fragrance, Eau de Parfum 100 ml size on these. Michael Moore X Gents scents up top. Got this cool design. And then if you open it up, you have the latitude and longitude on the side there. And then the bottle sits down inside there, a little foam cutout. One other thing with these, same as the last ones, nice pressurized atomizer. Yeah, gotta have those. So as I said, this one really, really green, very fresh. When you spray this on, it's extremely brisk. It has a really sparkly nature to it. I know it has cardamom and cinnamon and black pepper in the top there, but really you get more of that like peppermint mixing with apple. And the apple is not a really heavy syrupy apple like you'll find in Eau de Parfum or Eros or something like that. Instead, it's more crisp and it mixes with that bergamot and like I said, the peppermint to give it this really nice green opening that still has great freshness and mass appeal. You do get fresh spices in there. The cardamom, as I've said a number of times here, is more green cardamom than it is like La Nuit de l'Homme, like warm and denser cardamom. You get a little fig around the edges that becomes a little more prominent as it dries down. The lavender in there works extremely well with the figolide, excuse me. The Sichuan pepper comes out in the mid, or the tamarind pepper, and then you also get that petitgrain as well. Not a heavy dose of it, not like really overdosed or anything, but you do pick that up as well. Into the dry down, smooth, woody, fresh, very slightly creamy sweet as well. It's one that evolves nicely on my skin from the opening into the dry down. Nice compliment puller and smells quite a bit different than anything else that I have. Both of these, I think, do their own thing in a really nice and interesting way. So then we have West Loop. This one with more of a gray aesthetic, obviously. Read the note breakdown for you really quickly on this one. As I said, not as intense as the note breakdown on Edgewater. So this one has a top of almond blossom, toasted cinnamon, and vanilla orchid, a mid of myrrh absolute, French lavender, and tobacco leaf, and a base of Indonesian patchouli, warm amberwood, and tonka. Perfumer on this one is Gabriella Shirley-Ryu, which I always halfway butcher when I say her name. Always feel like such a putz. Fantastic perfumer, and actually I would love to do more fragrances with her, just because I feel like the approach that she took with this one was so different than anything else that I got as far as the submissions goes. It was one that immediately stood out. When I smelled it, I was like, oh, okay, like this is not at all like the other ways that the other perfumers interpreted the brief for this one. And I gotta say, the first time I smelled it, I was like, I don't know about that one. And you know, I had it on my skin, and just as I went about the day, I was catching whiffs of it, and I was like, oh my God, what am I wearing? Oh, like it was one of those deals, which I'm sure you've had before, where you spray a fragrance on, and maybe when you first whiff it, you're like, I don't know if that's what I was looking for. And you go about your day, you forget that you even sprayed the thing on, and then when you start smelling it, you know, catching whiffs of it, you're like, holy freaking crap. Like, I am so glad that I have this on right now. It was like that for me. Just insane how much it has grown on me. So this one to me comes across as a fragrance that's almost like its own kind of DNA, you know? It's like when I smelled it, it didn't remind me of any of the other big fragrances that you would think of as kind of an evening out fragrance, like a big compliment puller with that really pleasant sweetness. It didn't directly remind me of anything, but I was like, this could be right in there, like just as good as all of these massive fragrances commonly get talked about as being, you know, evening compliment beasts and stuff. West Loop to me is really intriguing. It smells like you could fit this into a number of different lines, but it doesn't smell like any of those lines. Really pleasant warmth and sweetness here. The almond blossom gives it an intriguing kind of edge off the top. It's not metallic at all, quite sweet, and in the air, it actually smells much warmer than it does if you smell right up close. So if you smell right up close, you get that almond blossom, you get a bit of that toasted cinnamon, and you get a little more of the French lavender right up close, especially off the top. But in the air, man, it's just, you get the myrrh, the vanilla, that little hint of tobacco leaf. You get that in the air, and it's just so elevated. It smells awesome. It's a fragrance that I wear just for myself. Like as I walk around and catch whiffs of it, it puts me in a good mood. And I've gotten amazing feedback from this one. Very different fragrances. Edgewater, to me, more spring, maybe summer, fall, daytime. You could wear it to the office. And then West Loop, more fall, winter, early spring. More of an evening fragrance, but you could pull that off during the day as well pretty easily, especially if it's cold out. And I think these both do things extremely different from what I've done so far. Edgewater is nothing like Jet Black Enigma. Edgewater is nothing like the other fragrances I've done. West Loop is nothing like the other fragrances I've done. So I feel like each one of the 5 so far kind of does its own thing. And now it's time to kind of get back to the drawing board and think about, okay, where from here? The one thing that I've been thinking about, since I have not tackled this at all, is an iris fragrance. I've surprisingly not done anything that has iris as a focal point. So that's one thing that I'm thinking about doing. But at the same time, I don't really want to, you know, pigeonhole a brief into something where it's like, okay, we have to use this note and it has to be right there at the front, because I feel like then when you send that to a perfumer, maybe it kind of shackles them a little bit, and you might not get something surprising like this one was, or this one was. Because when you do a brief and you send it out to multiple fragrance houses, which these briefs were sent out to multiple different fragrance houses, you end up getting back a lot of stuff from a lot of different perfumers. And most of them are actually really good. But what ends up happening is, as you work through those submissions, you might be like, oh, this reminds me of that, this reminds me of that, this is kind of like this plus that, this is kind of like this plus that. So you do end up with like a bunch of scents that remind you of other things. Like maybe something smells like Santal 33, but with more fig. And you go, oh, that's really good. I love this. It smells really nice, very wearable, but it's also really close to Santal 33. Or you get something else in and say, oh, this is really awesome as well, but it kind of smells like Aventus with, you know, this thing changed around a little bit, or that thing changed around a little bit. I think even more so if I started to say, hey, I want this, but with this, I just wonder if I run the risk of that, of getting a whole bunch of stuff where I'm like, oh God, everything smells like gentleman. I'm rambling now. But yeah, guys, Edgewater, West Loop are out right now. Gents Scents 30% off, again, for all the Michael Malone X Gents Scents fragrances. That'll bring it down to 98 bucks. As of right now, that code is good through the 28th of this month at 30% off. After that, it reverts back to 20% off, so it will no longer be 98 for these. It will go up to 112. Now, I would like to say that I would like to make the price cut permanent. So I'll see if that's a possibility. That's what I would prefer. I would prefer it to be sub 100, just always. But right now it is set to revert on the 28th back to 112. So be aware of that. If that changes, obviously I will let you know. You know, if it does become permanent, I'll let you know, but right now it is not scheduled to be permanent. So there we go, Edgewater, West Loop. I think personally that these are the 2 best that I have done so far in collaboration with Michael Malone. I take that back. I didn't mean that, guys.
What does that mean?
These, I mean, I love them all. Maybe it's recency bias. It could be that, but like the amount that I'm gonna wear this fall and winter, absurd. And springtime. So there we go. Again, shout out to the perfumers. They are really the ones that made this happen, obviously. This is their work in these bottles. I was just like, hey, I got this idea. Can we work together on it? And they were like, sure, I'll do all the heavy lifting. So shout out to them again. The talent, the skill, all of that's in here. That's them. I'm just happy to play a part, man. I'm like the bat boy, going back to baseball again, you know, or the water boy. So I'm happy to be here, guys. So again, shout out to them. Thank you guys for watching this. Thank you all for all the support on all the previous releases. And I know on these releases as well, you guys always come through in the clutch, and then, you know, whatever comes down the pipe. And if you have like a particular, you know, style or something that you think would be intriguing as far as a fragrance release, feel free to drop a comment down below. All right, giveaway time. So 1 bottle of Edgewater and 1 bottle of West Loop. Whoever is the winner will get both. I'll just package them up, send them off to you. It won't be these bottles. I've got another one of each of these that I'll send on. So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, you have to be subscribed to the channel, like the video, usual stuff. Leave a comment down below, and just tell me which of these two you are most intrigued in, Edgewater or West Loop, and just tell me why. It can be like a 1-sentence thing. You don't have to write a whole bunch, but if you want to, feel free to. In a couple weeks, I will pick a winner with random comment picker, post up the winner on the community tab of the YouTube channel. If you're the winner, just reach out to me, and I will package both of these up and ship it off to you. So that will be 1 bottle of Edgewater, 1 bottle of West Loop. So again, thank you everybody, and thank you everybody, Michael Malone, all the guys out there and gals. Love you guys. Thank you everybody. That's it. I'm out of here. Gents, 30% off. See you guys later.